All right. Happy Wednesday, everyone. So happy that you're able to join us. I am so excited to welcome you to our special education webinar as members of the Elevate K-12 team. In today's session, the goal is for us to be able to dialogue about special education using a resource pullout model and the product development that our amazing team has been growing and developing for the best of our students. In today's session, we do have two options for you to participate throughout the session. You can drop personal and school-related questions either into the chat bar for our webinar or into the Q&A function, so that at the end of our session together today, we're able to cater our questions and our added content directly to the needs that you have in order to best serve your students. So I want to start briefly with introductions. My name is Bridget Smith, and I am a member of the partnerships team here at Elevate K-12. I come to Elevate K-12 with 12 years of experience in the public education space, serving as a junior high teacher and most recently as a school site principal here in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'd like my two partners to introduce themselves today as well.
Hello, I'm Kim Kays. I'm the Director of Academic Products here at Elevate. And like Bridget, I also have nearly 20 years actually now experience in public education, nonprofits, and education technology. I was a teacher and a principal. So now I'm here serving Elevate as the Director of Products and thinking of new innovative ways that we can help solve problems for schools just like you.
Hi, I am Allie Pollock. I'm the Senior Manager of Inclusive Learning Products. Similar to Bridget and Kim, I began my career as a special education teacher. I taught for 11 years and then transitioned to Elevate, and I've been at Elevate for a year and a half now.
So what we're here to talk to you today is about our special education resource room product. And we want to set the stage a little. This is not going to be news to any of you in the room, right? We know that this is what you are struggling with, but the real issue is that schools are not able to serve students with special needs as fully as possible, primarily due to the teacher shortage. So in 2020, nearly 98% of schools reported a shortage in special education. It's the most prevalent shortage that we see in the teaching field right now. And it's also, for various reasons, the highest turnover that we see in teachers. And so we at Elevate saw that trend and really wanted to make sure we were creating something that solved that pain point for you and really fully served all the students who deserve high quality live education. And so the three big challenges that we're looking to address is that, you as schools have a legal obligation, right, to provide services that are outlined in a student's IEP. We know that those students deserve that high quality education that's written in those IEPs. We also know that many students with IEPs don't receive direct instruction from a certified teacher. Schools are using things like asynchronous solutions or non-live teaching solutions to help serve those IEP minutes because they just don't have many other options. And like we said before, the special education teacher shortage has hit schools particularly hard, making it really challenging for them to fully serve students with special needs. So again, not anything that you are not familiar with here, but we do want to give a little bit of background of what we're seeing happening across the nation in our schools that we're serving. So many schools are using inclusion models in their classroom. This looks like your traditional push-in or co-teaching models. Lots of schools are using a resource room or even a portion of a resource room, like a small pull-out sessions or even fully self-contained sessions. And then unfortunately, 30% of schools are unable to service their students fully at this time because of this teacher shortage and because of the challenges that they're facing. So what we're really hoping to do is lower that statistic, right? So that you can fully support your students in a way that thinks a little bit outside the box with our resource room. So part of the solution is to help schools become more compliant with how they're legally supposed to serve students, but also just let those students get the support they're legally entitled to. So really our mission at Elevate is that all students, regardless of zip code or disability, can have access to the live high quality teaching that they are entitled to. So that's what really we're here and aiming for to do with this resource room product. And the good news is that students love it. So we have been testing this product out in the summer and fall in our pilot classrooms. And these are just a few of the quotes that we've gotten from students recently. What we've really been seeing is that many students who have diverse learning needs adapt really well to this kind of learning environment. They love the interactivity of our online live portal. They love being able to get that small group and one-on-one attention from their teacher who's on the screen with them. They find it really engaging to do the checks for understanding and the fun kind of QZ way that we do it in our Elevate portal. And so we're seeing a lot of really great success from our students.
I am so excited to share with you all a solution that we've come up with, and that solution is the Elevate Special Education Resource Classroom. So in looking at this diagram here, what we're going to see is we're going to see a certified special education teacher on this screen, streaming live into the classroom. We're going to see a small group of students who have IEPs and or 504 plans. And they are all going to be accessing grade level content that is focused around those foundational skills. Students can attend their general education classroom and utilize this resource room as an additional supplement to instruction, or because the certified teacher is certified in special education and live, that teacher could also serve as the core instruction teacher as well. There are going to be 5 keys to Elevate's live special education resource room, and we're going to go into these keys in depth in just a second. But just for a preview, we specifically are focusing on adapted content and resources, an increase in collaboration, accommodations and modifications to provide a truly differentiated experience, additional personnel, including an inclusive learning coordinator and a certified special education teacher. Our first key here is adapted content and resources. If you all are already using Elevate, you all know that our Tier 1 content, our general education content, is built by subject matter experts. It is rigorous, it is strong, and it is comprehensive. What we've done is we've taken that wonderful Tier 1 content and we've had a subject matter expert specifically supporting special education needs, accommodations, and modifications within that content. So they've taken that content and they've embedded different accommodations and modifications pre-designed to support students with disabilities. There will be a highly trained special education teacher to access that grade level content, and the adaptations, as I said earlier, are really focusing around foundational skills and major standard clusters to allow the pace to match that of their peers and really mitigate those learning gaps, getting them closer to their enrollment grade level. Consistent collaboration. We know that to provide a differentiated learning experience for students, we certainly need to be in consistent collaboration. So there are multiple touch points with Elevate and the school site. That includes individual connections and individual collaboration between the special education teacher and the classroom coach. They can really go into each classroom and class period feeling empowered with the knowledge of accommodations and modifications needed to support students. There are monthly meetings between Elevate's inclusive learning coordinator and the school's supervisor and on-site person to support those special education classrooms, as well as consistent contact between the school and district level to support evolving student needs and switching of rosters.
So the good news is also that we've gotten some great feedback from our supervisors who are on site at our schools this fall. We've had clients who are both new to Elevate and people who've partnered with us from Tier 1. And we've gotten consistent feedback that they are seeing the evidence of the accommodations and modifications happening live through the learning, that the increased collaboration is giving them all of the data and insight they need into how those students are progressing and learning. And so that touch point and that extra collaboration has been really key and foundational in ensuring that you are satisfied with the product that we're building and the students' needs are being met.
This is a specifically differentiated key that is built into our adapted content here, and that is accommodations and modifications. We know that students who are learning in a diverse manner need additional scaffolds put in place so that way they can have equitable access to that content. And so what we've done is we have built in accommodations and modifications into our content based on common accommodations and modifications among IEPs for students who are performing 1 to 2 years below grade level. So specifically, that could look like brain breaks, that could look like guided notes, that can look like additional checks for understanding and ongoing formative assessment. These predetermined supports are in place and are refined as each student evolves by that special education certified teacher. This is a completely differentiated experience for students, and it is certainly enhanced in providing additional scaffolds for students in this adapted resource room space. Our inclusive learning coordinator. Again, if you are with us for Tier 1 regular education programs, this is going to be a new role that is added in to our resource room products. This inclusive learning coordinator's main objective is to ensure that that communication line between the school site and Elevate remains clear, remains consistent, and remains collaborative. So our inclusive learning coordinator meets with the school special education supervisor or that person who is supervising these resource rooms on site to ensure that they are, the teacher is meeting individual accommodations and modifications, provide any updates from the students' IEPs, and we want to make sure that we're meeting accommodations and modifications needs with fidelity. There is an audit that is done by this inclusive learning coordinator and a rating system to ensure that this experience is top-notch for the students. Data is delivered during these meetings, and we ensure that all stakeholders are current with best practices with that live streaming instruction. And lastly, our certified special education teacher. So Elevate employs only teachers who have current special education certificates within the content area and grade band of the students who they are serving. And there are numerous duties of this special education teacher, including the employment of the adapted content with quality and effective teaching modalities. There's a wraparound support service that that special education teacher will receive ongoing coaching regardless of their proficiency within the practice, right? We believe that a growth mindset, everyone can always do better, and we need to do best for our students. That being said, this is going to be a highly collaborative role. This special education teacher will partner with the classroom coach and will receive that onboarding coaching through our inclusive learning coordinator, as well as different academic instructors that will be a part of the classes. So what we have here is we have one of our teachers. This is Mrs. Ingram. Mrs. Ingram has been a teacher in special education for 22 years. This is her first year of teaching special education with Elevate. Her quote says it beautifully here, and I have to read it. She is truly blessed. She enjoys her job, and she states it's a privilege to work with the students to support them alongside the academic and behavioral journeys that they are on. Anyone who steps into Mrs. Ingram's classroom can truly see that enjoyment, both in her academic instruction, but also the strong relationships that she is building with her students.
And we're getting lots of great feedback from our other special education teachers at Elevate too. So like Ali said, this is Mrs. Ingram's first year with Elevate, and some of our teachers have been with us for a few years and are just transitioning into this special education role. But they're giving us a lot of really great feedback on the content, on how the students are adapting, and then the scaffolds and supports that are built and put in place. And we do frequently ask for their input and advice on the content and curriculum and the flow to make sure that it's doing what it needs to do for both them and the students. And so you might be thinking, what are some of the ways that this could work for my school, right? So we know that schools are doing any kind of combination of inclusion, of resource, of pullout, of self-contained. And this product can actually fit into quite a few areas and spaces for schools. So yes, absolutely, this can be a traditional resource room pullout where once a day, these students come to the room, they learn their math or ELA content as a double dip of grade level supported by that special education teacher. It can also be used as core instruction. So we're seeing a lot of success from students who need a completely alternate setting, whether they're in a self-contained setting or an alternative transitional program. So because this is standards aligned grade level content, it can be provided for a credit for students in middle school and high school. And then we're also seeing schools have a lot of success in alleviating the caseload of the folks that are on the ground doing that inclusion push-in work. So we all know that our case managers at schools are massively overloaded and have huge caseloads. So this is one way that your school can kind of alleviate some of those instructional minutes from their caseload so that they can focus on case management, on inclusion, and all those other services that we know our students with IEPs need. So those are just 3 of the ways, and I would encourage you that if there are other ways you think this might be able to fit in, we're always able to kind of adapt and switch up what we do and make sure that we can help meet your needs.
Kim and Allie, I just want to say thank you so much for giving us such a comprehensive overview of our Elevate resource classroom, as well as being able to give detail within there while still painting just an accurate picture of what our classroom looks like. Attendees, we want to extend the opportunity, or you might just be very tired at the end of the day and very quiet. We're going to leave this up to you, but we would like to extend the opportunity for any questions that you may have. And while we are waiting for you to go ahead and drop those questions into the chat or into a Q&A, I do want to just provide a brief summary and overview of what it is that we have the privilege of offering and partnering with schools to support our students within our education system here across the country. So as you're chatting and typing, I'll read anything out, but it's truly a privilege to work for Elevate K-12 and partner with all of you champions for our public ed system, increase access for students in all content areas, and now with any students who have added learning needs in the classroom. So we are passionate about bringing that access to all students, regardless of the area that they live in or the content that they need, and now increasing our inclusivity as well for our students with disabilities. We are present across the country and love to share out our current partners with potential partners to continue to help visualize what an Elevate classroom looks like and actually share how it really mimics that traditional classroom in your brick and mortar buildings. So you'll see we're in over 300 districts and over 450 schools, and that's really quite powerful in the current landscape that we have in public education. We also have a really beautiful opportunity to deliver a wide range of programs and a high number of teachers of over 2,000. How cool is that? I do want to pause real quick for Kim and Allie, because I do have a question from one of our attendees, which I think is really great about, the question reads, what levels functioning wise can we serve in our resource classroom? So if we could touch a little bit more on that student population, that would be great. And then as well, a curiosity around ELA and math a little bit more specifically. Could you guys expand on that for us?
Absolutely. I can take the beginning part of the question. In thinking about the functioning levels of students, we are targeting students who have mild or moderate disabilities, thinking about 1 to 2 years behind grade level. Because the resource room is utilizing tier 1 content that has been adapted and has built-in scaffolds, we're really trying to target students who are looking to access grade level content or expected to perform on those grade level assessments. We are able to support students in ELA and math classes. So in thinking through ELA, we are able to support students in grades 6 through 12 with some nuances there in regards to user profile. And then we also are able to support students in the area of math from grades 4 all the way through 12. So there's certainly a larger bandwidth with math at this time. Kim?
Yeah, and I think we can address like what those classes look like. So yes, those two contents are separated, but we can also work, what we do is work with your bell schedule. And if you needed it to be back to back so that it's one big block chunk of time, that's what we could do and ensure that our instructor is the same instructor that functions across both of those classes. I think a few things that we maybe haven't mentioned that folks often ask are our special education teachers able to attend IEP meetings? And that answer is yes. So in addition to all of the data that we will be providing to you once a month about how your students are performing, our teachers can also push into those IEP meetings and provide that context about how those students are doing live and how they're functioning. So I think that's one big question that always comes up that we wanted to make sure to answer as well.
Thanks, Allie and Kim. And I'd also like to note that because we've been working within the live stream space now since 2015, we've really honed in on our ability to serve student needs and monitor and adjust to student needs just as a in-person teacher may do in a traditional classroom setting. So whether that is from the curriculum side, needing to monitor, adjust, and looking at student learning evidence, or whether that is from the instructional practice, we've seen increased effectiveness not only in our general education tier 1 program, but now through our special education resource pilot. And that's what's propelling us forward with really keen awareness of how to design for students and how to partner with you all as our school district partners in order to serve your students exactly as they need. So thank you for both of that. And we'll continue for a few moments with any added questions. Feel free to keep adding them in. Oh, fantastic question. I was going to touch on class size for tier 1, but I just chatted. So I'll pass it back to Kim and Allie. Kim and Allie, is there a minimum class size for our resource classroom? The panelist specifically says that they're from a smaller district here in Texas, and they use Elevate and they're very interested in resource room. So that minimum would be the priority in their question.
The minimum class size is 1. So we have a lot of programs actually that are running in more alternative settings where our teacher to student ratio is 1-to-1 or even 2-to-1. And we've seen a lot of success there, especially for those students who have a really hard time functioning with their peers. That can be a really great model. Our maximum is 12 because we just value that small group setting and have found that our sweet spot is kind of 7 to 10, but it still functions the way we expect it to at 12. So we're really able to accommodate any range of class sizes between there. And I think what we've seen in those very small settings, Ms. Ingram, who was featured in the slide, actually teaches in that setting. They're really able to build some in-depth relationships and manage the pacing and make sure students' needs are being met and that those scaffolds are right there for them. So I think that that can be a really great solution if you have a lot of time throughout the day for just 1 or 2 students that one of our teachers can serve as that resource room teacher for those kids.
Fantastic. I love the opportunity for small group instruction and really focused opportunities, especially as we're talking about many of our students receiving that resource support. I think it's so cool to hear how we're continuing to grow and meet the needs of our different student populations across the country. And I'm also really excited from the panelists that shared that they've had success with our tier 1 program because, you know, we've continued to refine and grow and constantly stay rooted in what's best for kids. So thank you, panelists, as well, for sharing another question. As we move ahead in this school year, you know, moving into 2023, we're so eager and excited that our resource pilot has been so profound. And we're looking and excited to offer this as an expansion into multiple different schools. And so another question that as a former principal, and I'm sure many of you as school leaders are thinking about is what is next? And actually, ironically, that is the question that just came into the Q&A. It's like we all, have an understanding. So very simply put, we are able to access all of the panelists who came into the session today. Part of why you registered is so that we have your contact information and can reach out to you after today's session. So I'm going to go ahead and do that initial reach to you all and open the conversation as soon as possible. If you're a current Elevate customer, we'll connect you with your partnership team and your sales partner in order to move that conversation along. And if you're a new potential customer, we'll continue that same outreach and open the doors there. I'm also going to add that we chose to record today's webinar so that we can continue to share this product offering with as many partners across the country as possible. And so while I know participants, your initial thought is your campus and your community, and I would not ask for more than that. But if you have colleagues who may also be interested and have students who need certified instruction, whether tier 1 or in the resource classroom, please share our information as we continue to try and serve and really get down to the foundations of what students need to be successful in their academic careers. So we've really dove into all of the questions so far. I am going to pause in case Allie or Kim would like to add or maybe pose any additional ideas today. So I'll pause for a moment.
I was just going to say, I know that this can be interesting and servicing students kind of in a new, innovative way. And I just want you to know that Kim and I are here along with our partnerships teams and really everyone else at Elevate to answer questions and partner with you all and support you in any way that we can.
Thanks for sharing that, Allie. I'll add as well that I always like to hook this at the end, that I'm not just a former school principal, but I am a former school principal that implemented Elevate both in a tier 1 and tier 2 setting. And I've not just seen this, ideal perspective, but really what this looks like, boots on the ground, benefiting kiddos. So I too am here as a support. All of our Elevate teammates are here as a support, and we're going to toss it to Kim for final words today.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us. And I think that we're always here for more questions as well. So if you reach out to any of the panelists, or if you reach when your support team reaches out to you and you have more specific questions about the resource room, because we know that it can be really nuanced and challenging with bell schedules and with pullout minutes and all of that stuff. So we're really here to help you through that. And if it feels daunting and feels overwhelming, know that we have our specialists on site who can help you walk through that to make sure that it's really going to fit your needs and meet the needs. I think one of the biggest things that we get asked is, well, what about all the logistics? Because that is always the kind of the barrier. And we want to make sure that that barrier isn't there for you. So that's what we're here for. So we're looking forward to working with all of you. And if you end up partnering with us, you'll see Allie and I a lot. And so we're looking forward to that.
Thank you for those final words. Attendees, we love to give you time back. So you've got some time back in your afternoon. And like I shared, we'll post our recording of today's session. We will reach out to participants, and we will continue likely with future webinars as well to continue increasing the knowledge base for what our resource room can look like. And man, we just wish you well, wish you a wonderful and healthy winter break, and welcoming in a new year here soon. So take care, everybody. I'm going to